Yeah, I mean, as I said to me, we always in motion. We never stand still. The moment you stand still, you're going backwards. So it's important to keep that wheel moving all the time, and that's what we're doing.
Hello, my name is Renae Leith-Manos. Welcome to this podcast, Where to From Here, featuring conversations about luxury travel and how it's changing in every pocket of the globe.
Hi guys, today we're going to the old quarter of Hanoi, to one of Southeast Asia's most famous, luxurious and most adored city five-star hotels, the Sofitel Legend Metropole Hotel. Now, I was so fortunate to spend Christmas this year, this recent Christmas, in this hotel with my family, and we certainly had a trip that we will never forget, thanks to just the opulence of this hotel, but most particularly thanks to the staff and just the time that we had in this hotel, which is one of those luxury hotels that you actually don't want to leave. There's not many of those around anymore, but in Southeast Asia, this is one of the few, and a stay here is absolutely beautiful. The hotel's been a landmark since it opened in 1901. There are vintage cars sitting out the front, and suites are named after some of the historical and famous guests, including Charlie Chaplin and British writer Somerset Maugham. And there are so many celebrities who stay here, from Putin to Trump to Angelina Jolie to Mick Jagger, Kim Jong-un, Apple CEO Tim Cook. I mean, the list goes on and on. It really is a spectacular hotel, and it's my great honor to invite the general manager onto the program today, George Koumendakos, to talk all about it. Welcome, George.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you so much about the great introduction you just made about our fabulous hotel.
Yeah, look, it's pretty special.
Oh, thank you. And great to hear that you and your family enjoyed your stay with us when you were here last year, which is great to hear.
No, we're in love with it. We just, yeah, we had a beautiful time. But tell me, what is it, do you think, about this hotel that just makes it so loved and adored by so many really famous people, but by everyone who stays there?
Yeah, actually, we actually now at the moment sitting in the Somerset Modern Room suite that you just mentioned earlier. We had Charlie Chaplin here in the 1930s, Graham Greene in the 1950s, writing a book as well while he stayed in this hotel. And as you said, the hotel really has an incredible history since 1901. Um, the building itself, you walk in, you feel like you're going back in time. We just have the beautifully renovated heritage wing that was really completely redone last year. And we have a fabulous array of restaurants. And in 2011, we found the bunker that was used during the Vietnam War, where people
Hang on,
like joined.
how did you find that bunker? Because the bunker sits underneath a bamboo bar, and Jane Fonda, I read, hid there in 1972-73 during the American War in Vietnam. So how did you locate that bunker?
Those maintenance works and some renovation was done at the pool, and the pool's literally next door to it. And while they were digging, they all of a sudden found a space next to the pool, and then a bunker popped up, and that bunker has become an integral part of the history of this hotel. And every day, and I think you've experienced it yourself while you stayed with us, we're doing these beautiful history tours around the property, where people are being guided through the path of history, and then they end up visiting the bunker itself. And it's really such a big piece of history in Hanoi, and particularly for our hotel. And I guess really love that type of experience because it's priceless. I mean, one thing you can't purchase and buy is history, and this hotel is full of it.
When I would say Vietnam is full of it. I mean, that's the third time I've been with my children, and every time we just love going to the museums and learning and educating ourselves. And I think, yeah, staying at a hotel like yours, you're almost staying, well, you are staying in a piece of history.
That's right. That's right. And we're beautifully located in the French Quarter, walking distance from the Old Quarter. So people love it. I mean, for the quietness, to stay in the hotel in the courtyard, having a sip, having a cocktail at the bamboo bar, or sitting around the pool. But if they want the hustle and bustle of Hanoi, it's just right at your doorstep as well. You go outside, and you see all the excitement of Hanoi as well as the history, as you mentioned earlier.
What I was surprised about is how many quality designer shops are within the hotel and the surrounds.
Yes, 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 yes. It's a prime location, obviously. A lot of the quality shops, and particularly the luxury shops, affiliate themselves with the product and the service at the Metropole. And they're also very proud to be part of the building as well. And it's a great partnership between us and the luxury brands that we're hosting at our property.
And Angelina is your relatively new restaurant that I really loved. We had the most amazing dinner there with the chocolate cigar desserts where they set a cigar box on fire, which is quite dramatic, especially for my teenagers. We loved it. But what I really loved was sitting there looking outside in the French Quarter because, of course, it's full of French colonial architecture. And you almost feel like you're sitting in France. It really is the best of Southeast Asia. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, one of our guests actually made a comment because you're right. I mean, once you're in the room, you can actually look outside. It looks like you're back in time. But one French guest told us this feels like Paris in the 1950s, and that was the biggest compliment we could get. It's true because the actual hotel is surrounded by beautiful French old colonial style buildings. So even when you look outside your window, you still feel you're in a different era altogether. And that is what we're very proud of, that discreet sense of luxury, the liaison between the typical French culture and style of building, which is very um, works very well with the Vietnamese culture. So people come in and recognize that part as well, and we're very proud of that.
I've always loved going to Vietnam because I lived in Indonesia in another lifetime, fairly recently, really. But I love drinking wine. And of course, in most of Southeast Asia, you can't find great wine, but you can in Vietnam because of the French connection. All of the restaurants, including yours, have beautiful French wines by the glass, by the bottle. It's a real joy.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a huge selection of beautiful wines in our Le Beaulieu restaurant, our French fine dining, and we're very proud of being able to provide our guests with the highest quality of wines and other beverages, obviously as well. And yeah, you're right. It's a big part of the whole culinary experience to have a proper wine selection as well.
And wasn't there a big political dinner in your hotel? Was it with Kim Jong Un? Was that who it was with? And which restaurant was it in? Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, when he met Trump, they were having a meeting in a Spice Garden restaurant at a large table, and that same table people are having dinner with nowadays. So that table has quite a bit of history about their visit at our hotel. And we have a beautiful plaque as well in the gardens that reminds people of their visit at the time.
Wow. Yes, it's so history is continually being made there, right? And world moments, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even in this heritage wing where this suite is situated, we have 11 plaques next to rooms where embassies used to be based during the Vietnam War. So these embassies are also very proud to have been at the Metropole. It was simply just a guest room at the time where the ambassador and his team were kind of located
And
during
excuse
the
my
war.
ignorance, but why was it there? Was it because it was the only building around, or was it a safety issue? Like, why did the embassies locate there at that time?
Yeah, its safety issue was indeed very important. But the other thing is, obviously, not very centrally located as well. And it was a place where a lot of international journalists used to stay, reporting about the Vietnam War because it was considered to be a safe building as well. Yeah, so it has, during the Vietnam War, it actually carried quite a bit of importance as well in terms of foreigners coming to Vietnam. The few foreigners that used to come to Vietnam or were in Hanoi, particularly during the war, were staying mostly in this hotel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And George, tell me, what's your, passion and connection with Hanoi? Because you have been in Vietnam for a long time.
Well, I love Hanoi. I mean, if you compare Hanoi, for example, with Ho Chi Minh City, it's a totally different ballgame. Basically, there's a lot more culture here. It's a little bit more chaotic in a way, but it's more Vietnamese compared to Ho Chi Minh City. It has a lot of character as well. The people here are very tenacious people. The Vietnamese very tenacious. They are outgoing. There's a beautiful street culture in Hanoi. The food is amazing as well. So yeah, has a lot to offer as well. I mean, but yeah, Hanoi for me is one of these places in Southeast Asia, which is also not as touristy as places such as Singapore or Bangkok, and still a place where you can discover a lot of small little restaurants, bars, little alleys with little shops. It has a lot of character to it. Very picturesque as well.
It's true. How many years have you spent there in Vietnam throughout your career?
Well, I mean, I worked in Vietnam back in 2012 when I did the pre-opening of the one of the Intercon hotels here in Hanoi, and then I was very lucky back in 2023 to come back again and be considered for this fabulous property, which I'm immensely proud of. And fiction is not just the building; it's really, and you mentioned this earlier, it's the really our ambassadors, the people that work here, that really truly make the difference, and they are really outstanding. People are proud to work here. People want to go beyond what's being expected from them, and they have this very strong connection with our guests. So they always look at ways to excite our guests and to go uh, above and beyond to what is expected of them.
No, and they do. And do you mind if I tell my story that it was unbelievable, wasn't it? When, I checked into your beautiful hotel with my children and my daughter was sort of on the tail end of COVID. And then the next thing that happened is my son got sick. It's like, and they're teenagers, they're grown ups, 17 years old. And my son was so violently ill, nothing to do with the hotel, all night. And I had to ring your cleaners at 3 in the morning and say, please, can you help me? The bathroom is in a state and they were so kind and just generous. And at 3 in the morning, I looked like a wreck. My son was passed out. He'd been very sick. And they came in like three-piece suits, George, with these blue plastic gloves on. And they just looked at me and just said, you can go back to bed now. And they went into the bathroom and cleaned it spick and span. And they said, before you go to sleep, do you want us to bring ginger tea for your son? And I'm like, where in the world would you get that kind of generosity, presence of mind, and kindness at 3 in the morning? Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And this is something, I mean, when we hire people, I know experience is important, but what we look mostly for is attitude. We need to get people in that have the right attitude, that love what they're doing. They need to have the natural love to care for guests as well. And there's a strong DNA in the hotel as well. The people that are new, obviously, being welcomed by the people that have been around for a bit longer. And they all become part of the team very quickly, but at the same time, they also learn about what is expected from them. And it's a number of notches up compared to what you find at other five-star hotels or other, hotels in Hanoi. But that is life at the Metropole. And if you have this constant desire to please guests, to give them an incredible stay experience, then this is the right place to be.
No, absolutely. And even down to, in that wonderful happy hour that you've got for members of, is it the Melissa May Club, that you have the champagne and the high tea? The staff were insistent. It wasn't our fault, George. They were insistent that, we drink champagne and enjoy ourselves. But it's just nice sometimes to feel spoiled. And I think your staff really encapsulate that. And even my daughter wanted to go shopping and they gave her a list. Like, nothing was too big or too small. And the three of us have very different interests and needs. And like, all of us were blown away. It was amazing.
There's a bit for everyone, if you like to have a relaxing time, you go to the Bamboo Bar or possibly to the Club Bar. If you really want to have incredible French fine dining, go to our beautiful Le Beaulieu restaurants. If you want Spice Garden, you want to try some real authentic Vietnamese food, you can sit out on the patio in Spice Garden. So there's a bit for everyone. And the people that stay at the Club Metropole on the seventh floor are really pampered. Our team has been there for quite some time. They know every single guest. They know the preferences. So it's like for a lot of people that are regulars here, it's like coming home basically. And that's what we hear a lot. They keep on coming back because they're recognized for who they are, and people know all about them. And there's one thing we are very proud of is the Kusuman is something that we cultivate within the Sofitel brand, that we really want to excite guests by giving them extraordinary experiences. So if we remember that a child or a child is coming back and likes certain stuffed toys, we arrange those stuffed toys to be on the bed before before the family comes back with the child, for example. And these are things that we do on a consistent basis, not because we have to, but because we like to and we love to. We love to excite our guests and give them these really personalized, memorable experiences.
Do you get a lot of repeat guests, and where are they from?
All from all over the world. We recently had a guest that was here 20 years ago, and he was picked up by the same driver 20 years ago. And the driver recognized him by name, and the guest recognized him also. And obviously, both got 20 years older, but the same driver picked up the same
That's
guest from the airport, and they
amazing.
were just incredible. And we get these stories from time to time, and you go like, this is unbelievable. And it's probably one of the very few properties in the world where this can happen. Firstly, that ambassadors and employees are here for such a long time, but also secondly, that people are trained to recognize people even after such a long time. And this is really yeah.
And can you share some anecdotes about famous people who've stayed there? What are some stories you can share with us? Because there have been so many.
Oh, there have been a lot. I mean, obviously Charlie Chaplin had his honeymoon here in the hotel in 1936. I was not there at the time, but uh, this is was also one of the highlights. Graham Greene was here, obviously. We've had a lot of movie stars, a lot of royalty as well that has stayed here throughout time. Mitterrand, Bill Clinton, a lot of very famous business people. We had Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie with the family stayed here before. A lot of musicians. So yeah, the list is
Did Mick Jagger party hard at your hotel?
yeah. Well, I mean, again, I was not around at the time to verify that, but yeah, I mean, he's one of the many guests that stayed here as well, and really enjoyed his stay. No, I think one of the things here as well is people can go very incognito. They can really stay under the radar as well. Can stay here very discreet. I think that is one of the things that people really enjoy. I think that's also part of luxury at the end of the day.
No, I think that's right. But I do think Hanoi is the sort of location, I mean, having met a lot of your staff, they're not obsessing over who's there. They're obsessing over giving great service, and there's a big difference where there's many cities in the world where, London comes to mind as one random one, where the staff really are very celebrity focused and want the autograph and want the selfie. That's not what your guests are getting.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And this is also part of how we deal with guests. I mean, with royalty as well, there has to be discreet. And to be honest, we treat every guest the same. If somebody's from royalty or wherever he or she comes from, everybody is treated as a VIP, as a king or a queen at our hotel. And I think that is very important as well. You can see that on the guest comments that we're getting through on our social media channels, that some people tell us we didn't know hotels like this exist anymore, like what you mentioned earlier. And it's true. It's not just the building or the product or the food, it's particularly the people. And I think luxury services should be unobtrusive, should not be in your face. It should be discreet. Yeah, somebody is there when he or she needs to be there, but somebody also backs off when, you know, it's required as well. And this is part of the emotional intelligence training that we do as well, that we need to recognize our guests and their needs. Some people like more attention and then you give it, but if it's the opposite, we give them more space as well.
So that's a really interesting question. How do you go about, like, what are the steps you take to teach your staff emotional intelligence?
Well, we use a lot of examples. I mean, we go. I mean, anything that happens in a hotel is being discussed. So the good things, but sometimes also the things that may need improvement. And we always show people how they could have done things a little different in order to get a little different reaction, because every guest is different at the end of the day. Uh, and people are used to it after some time. And it is complete. It's also about role play. It's about repeatedly learning from things that we could do better in order to make the service better. But at the same time, we also select caring people, and I think to show that tender, loving care to our guests, it comes a long way already in providing incredible service that people will remember us for many, many, many years.
So do you actually have like training sessions, or you're saying you have weekly catch ups to catch? Is that how you do it, or?
No, we have a a very in-depth departmental training plan for all departments. And we do a lot of role playing, but at the same time, new ambassadors are having counterparts, like a buddy system that trains them on the spot. Because when new people come to the hotel, it can be a little bit overwhelming. The type of guests, the surroundings as well. So we want to make sure that people feel at home very quickly, because this is their home as well at the end of the day, and that they don't feel intimidated, and that they adjust the way they behave and the way they interact with the guest according to reading their mind a bit. And and it's also for us. I mean, I spend a lot of time on the floor. Our senior team members spend a lot of time on the floor because we observe a lot and we also correct people if needed. Plus, we talk a lot to the guests ourselves, and at the end of the day, we role model as well. We show them at times, they look at us as well, the way we communicate to people, how we resolve issues, and they learn from it as well. So it's also being a role model while you're on duty and when you walk around.
I was going to say, I was there 4 days. You were literally there every time that I was downstairs. Like, you're very hands on as a general manager. What would you say is the best part of your job as the general manager of the Sofitel Legend Metropole Hanoi?
I think it's the, I think it's the, actually, just you mentioned it a bit already. It's the time you spent on the floor mixed with the time you spent on planning and strategize what needs to be done in the future. I think it's important to find a fine balance. During the meal periods, it's important to walk around because people like that. I mean, a lot of people come up to you and they say, you work here. Obviously, they see the pin as well, which obviously is the Metropole pin. But at the same time, I think for me, I like to feel to be connected to where the action is, and my office is right in the lobby, so it's quite easy. And I welcome all of the people that I need to meet upon arrival. So it's constantly in and out of the office or people departing, and I meet them. And we have a group as well where we communicate the VIPs in the hotel. So it's called the VIP movement group. So we know where people are going. We know when people visit the hotel, and we make sure we meet them as well, and welcome them and make them feel at ease.
Yeah, wonderful. And George, you've been in the industry 37 years in luxury hotels. What changes do you see coming in the future, and what things do you think are going to surprise us all in the luxury hotel industry?
Yeah, I think, I mean, artificial intelligence is becoming bigger nowadays, but technology is constantly evolving as well. So that I think will develop further. Um, but I think ultimately luxury is about experiences. It's not so much about just the building or the food, as I mentioned earlier. It's about experiences, and I think people sometimes forget to elevate the experience by working on it, by training people, finding the right people, but also be on the floor. I think hotels have to be careful for that. They don't spend too much time in the office just working on reports because it doesn't necessarily add value. Um, the experience is, and this is also the best marketing you can get. People talking about your hotel, enjoying your hotel, and then tell their friends. Uh, and we get a lot of people that come and stay with us because their friends told them that this is a hotel you have to visit. We hear a lot that people say this hotel has been on the bucket list for some time, and they ultimately need to visit us. And there's not that many iconic buildings that have this mix of history, luxury, quality service, great food, nice experiences. There's not that many hotels, so for people that love to travel in the luxury segment is obviously a choice that can be quite easily made.
Absolutely. As I said in my introduction, what I loved about your hotel, the number one thing was I checked in with my teenagers and we didn't have to leave. There was literally every single thing we wanted, whether it was a bit of shopping, glass of champagne, great bar, incredible breakfast, different sorts of food, excellent service, somewhere to just lie around because I've got teenagers, great gym, great spa. I mean, and it's big enough that we could get away from each other. So everything we needed was in that hotel. It's very rare. It's very rare.
Yeah, it's rare. And I think the actual courtyard, the swimming pool, the gardens, and the restaurants is very unique. It's very peaceful. We have squirrels there. There's a little birds there as well. So actually, people tell us we've had people here that have actually, as you said earlier, haven't left the hotel. They come to Hanoi to look at the culture. They say, listen, I enjoy being around so much. I just don't want to leave. And and if you do want to leave, we have our team, and we can give suggestions, etc., which we do as well. We have people that come to Hanoi. They go to Halong Bay just for how do you call that, a boat tour, and then they come back again. Um, and we have people that come to our hotel, and then that's the start of the journey. Then they go all around Vietnam, and then they come back on the last few days, and they say, "Oh my God, we're so happy to be back again," because it's just different. And yeah, it's a bit for everyone. We're not pretentious. We're very welcoming. Um, so it's a hotel where people easily, fall in love with, but also where people like to come back to, simply because it's very unobtrusive. The service is unobtrusive. As I mentioned earlier, it's discreet, and you know, it's tailor made at the end of the
No,
day.
absolutely. It's wonderful. And what about you? Do you travel a lot to keep on top of the trends? And if you do, is it in luxury? Where do you go?
Yeah, I mean, I just came back from a trip to the Philippines. And so I travel a bit, and when I travel, I normally make it a point to visit other hotels. And I pick, I steal ideas with pride. I mean, if I see something that I really like, I take a picture or video, and then bring it back. Say, guys, can we look at this? Or how can we do things a little different? But it's also this relentless, and I think it has to be part of being a luxury hotel. This relentless focus on looking at details, on make them better. One of the things, give a small example, I recently stayed at one of our sister favorite properties in Shanghai. And, and one of the things which I always find when you go to hotels is that the slippers are one size, and they always tend to be too small for guys that are for bigger feet. But what happened here is the maids recognized it and brought in larger size slippers automatically without asking for it. And so I took the slippers back, and now what we do is we are introducing 3 to 4 different slipper sizes in the hotel. So when people come and we recognize they have a different size feet than normally, then or the regular size of your feet, then we will change it. We change the slippers automatically without being asked. It's a small thing, but it comes a long way. But these are small little things that we're constantly looking at to make a difference for our guests.
No, absolutely, the detail. You know what I really loved was the beautiful white robes in the rooms with the blue applique flowers on them. Oh, they were so soft on your skin. They looked beautiful. They felt it was just the loveliest thing at the end of the day to just pop that on and just walk around. And I felt like a princess. I mean, that was incredible for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we've just reopened, or we did the full renovation. We reopened our shop, La Boutique. So now we are selling Metropole branded items. As a beautiful selection. It's funny because we have the Hermes shop next door, but our shop actually looks more luxury than the Hermes shop. Uh, as beautifully designed as well. We have a lot of luxury items in there. We've just recently completely redone the terrace at Angelina, which is beautifully covered. And since the renovation, it is packed for lunch and dinner. It's hard to get a seat. And we are just about to totally renovate the bamboo bar to give it a more Indochine look. And our delicatessen shop, the Pizzeria, which will have a full renovation in May. So we are constantly, as I mentioned earlier, constantly looking at ways to elevate the product and to make it even more luxury. And we're very meticulously looking at designs and making sure it fits the metropole, but at the same time has a sense of history. Um, so although it has been renovated, it doesn't look new. It looks like it's part of history and has been there for some time already.
No, absolutely. Well, I stayed at the hotel about 4 years ago and then came, obviously, it's been renovated, and I was really impressed with that element of it. It was like, oh my gosh, this looks new. That wasn't the feeling. It was just, I struggled to remember what it was like and where the changes were, which is a good sign for a historic hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things when we renovate the Heritage Ring, that legendary feel that has to stay. Although obviously the room is new and it's different. The color schemes have to be very subdued, has to be luxury, and materials used have been also very carefully chosen. And the feedback I received from my guests had been overall fantastic.
And you have a new Jewish Australian chef, don't you? Australian or New Zealand? Australian.
Australia, yeah.
Yes. Yes, in
So
Angelina?
yeah, Angelina chef in New Australia. Although he does covers the rest of the cuisines as well, but particular focus on the Angelina. And we're changing the menus now with a lot of Australian influences as well. So it's a bit more cuisine's a little bit more modern in a way, but a lot of Asian influences as well. And we're just about to launch an a la carte brunch. So we need to say you pay a fixed price and you can order as much food as you want a la carte, and it's like a brunch basically with alcohol included as well.
Oh,
And
those
this is a new.
brunches with alcohol included, I think they started in Hong Kong, didn't they, with the expatriate community 20 years ago, and they're so big. They sort of stopped during COVID, so I think it's a great idea to bring them back.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a beautiful brunch in Le Beaulieu, which is again the starters are mainly obviously for buffet style and desserts as well, but all the main courses can be ordered a la carte as well. And we do something similar in Spice Garden where we have a Vietnamese barbecue brunch. It's a beautiful concept where everything is freshly prepared outside and then brought inside at your table. But for Angelina, we like to make it a little bit more funky with a DJ and maybe have a slightly different crowd that wants a bit more fun with noise and some good alcohol beverages as well. So it's a bit for everyone. And we also we just started a chocolate library in our Le Club Bar, so we do a full buffet purely with chocolate dishes. And yes, we're doing that now, particularly in the winter. We see that a lot of people love chocolates, particularly during winter time. And it's something different. We constantly try and see how things work. And if they work, great. If they don't work, then we change and do something different. But it's about giving different experience to people. So whenever they come to, particularly for the regulars, whenever they come back to the hotel, they see something different happening.
Fantastic. And when will the bamboo bar be finished, the renovation?
Bamboo Bar will be done March or April latest.
So I think I need to come then. It's going to be really important that I cover that.
Yeah, I know. I recognize the Bamboo Bar was your favorite hangout, more or less. Uh,
Definitely
and it's
was.
yeah, true. At the Bamboo Bar, it has something special because although it's kind of semi-indoor, it's more outdoor and the beautiful. You have to look at the pool, and particularly nighttime, it's very serene. It's quiet. And people
Yeah.
love it. I mean, when the weather is nice, the Bamboo Bar is always full. It fills
Yeah,
up
I'm not
very quickly, and
surprised.
people. Yeah, no, it's true. It's very it's very laid back as well. It's
I love it.
beautiful.
And just with
Yeah,
the rattan fans going around, it's from a
yeah,
bygone era. It's beautiful. It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, that's nice to
But
hear.
but George, I could talk to you all afternoon, but I always ask everyone who comes on the show where to from here for you. And you can talk about your next holiday, your next project, what you're doing today, whatever you like. So where to from here for you, George?
Where to from here is well, we're looking to also renovate the opera wing at some stage. And that is a project that I'm very passionate about. Um, and whenever we make these changes, physical changes that are very noticeable, people love it. But at the same time, we're also making a lot of changes in the heart of house to make life for our investors easier and upgrade the facilities. But also in terms of technology, we're doing a lot of projects at the moment, which makes it very exciting because we have very savvy travelers, and we would like to ensure they have all ease in terms of being able to connect to the world, but also to do conferencing or anything they would like to. And this is something we've been working on, and I find it very exciting. And yeah, I mean, as I said to me, we're always in motion. We never stand still. The moment you stand still, you're going backwards. So it's important to keep that wheel moving all the time, and that's what we're doing.
No, 100%. Look, it's so exciting. Well, thank you for your time. It's wonderful to speak with you about your beautiful hotel and keep in touch. And I hope to see you there again in the future.
Thank you. I will see you soon, Renee, at the Bamboo Bar again, hopefully.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, George. Have a great day in Vietnam.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe here and follow us on Instagram and Facebook for regular travel updates. You can also hear our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.